What is your take in line with what we have today, which is building African diaspora memory through storytelling?
Thank you so much. I'm driving, so I had to pull over for a few minutes. But since the pandemic, I've been engaged in a class with Dr. Greg Carr. And so I would like to invite all of you who are not a part of the Africana class with Dr. Greg Carr from Howard University. And it's on every Saturday on YouTube. But we've also developed a narrative with a K. And that's a part where you have to pay a little bit of money, but you go in there and you learn about the Africana framework. Now, as a writer and a storyteller, I am referencing Sonia Sanchez in some of her poems. She says, "How does it free us?" So whenever I'm promoting my business or telling stories within my business or writing stories, I always ask the question, how does it free me? How does it free me? And that's very important. Part of the Africana framework, there are three things. Memory is one of them, but there's also the social structure. Because when we're talking about the diaspora, we have to ask ourselves, how did the social structure influence who we were and where we were going? And how does it influence us today? The social structure means other people that's not part of our culture. How do they influence what we do and how we do it and where we do it, etc.? And then again, how does it free me? And then the second one is the governance structure. How are we freed working within our culture? So those that are Africans, and then those that are American Africans. How does it free us? How do we come together so that we can always be free? And how does coming together help us to go back into our memory and bring things forward as we move forward? Does that make sense?
A lot of sense.
Yes, it's a strange thing to be called stranger, because it's not true that we are here forever. That's number one. And number two, it's not true that our sad past and our sad history constitutes who we really are. So we need to come out of what we are not and be fully alive as full human beings with all the potential we know we can contribute, despite all the negative images. And I really appreciate your contribution, because writing books, yes, it's important, but we need to now move toward podcasts, and podcasts which are definitely telling us where to go and not to go at a tangent to become the best we know we are. And where it's possible, we must start videos, because videos will also depict pictures which projects our leadership, whether we are in Africa or anywhere else in the world, as Black people. We start as individuals, but not only individuals impacted by the type of history we know, but individuals who were born before we were physically born, because we were created in a form which must have been pure in its original form. We need to ask, what original form was this formation of who we are pure? And if pure, how do we now generate a pure community which is positive, which is thinking positively about ourselves, and which we build national interest even beyond our borders? I'm very appreciative of the diaspora in the sense that we are now talking as one humanity, both physical and spiritual, but we need to agree that the stories of our history must free us. And it means that we acknowledge that we are not free, but we are not necessarily bound by these stories. We have choices to make, and these choices may not necessarily have to depend on social capital. It must be an introspection of our essence in terms of our experience. And let's build only those positive aspects which will make us escape our mental slavery. These choices, yes, we can use them as vehicles. I fully agree with the previous speaker. But for me, it's an opportunity to be our real selves, to rebuild ourselves and to deepen the type of responses we normally give. They are not only physically and material, but they are also spiritual. Thank you very much.